Good evening. We just get rid of this thing here. Uh, Surprisingly, we're just sort of propped up in a very haphazard way for this live stream, but it seems to be working all right. I don't know if anybody's actually there. Let me put on the comments section here. Hopefully, it will actually work this time, and I'll be able to keep track of what's going on. It's really weird. It's not actually come up on this thing yet. We'll have to wait for that. Good evening, Mr. Harwood. So Mr. Coleman is here with me, the rubbish mechanic. This is, I think, the 7th one of these we've actually done. Although it's something like the 50th live stream. Yeah. I had a look through and it's about that. So just wait for me a second whilst I actually bring up the full comments to be able to see them on here. I might have to grab the laptop in a second, but we'll try on here. It's a bit easier to hold this as opposed to having a massive laptop. So somehow I got up here this afternoon. Weather was quite bad. It was terrible. Also terrible on Mr. Coleman's bin route that he was doing today, all the way down the M40 to Kyneton. Of course, Jokes Garage, we know very well. It's just down there, and Gaydon and places like that. There we go. We've actually got it there, so I'll have to just pause that. And then the chat will just appear on here. There we go. It's actually working. There we are. So yes, I actually went to Heathrow today to drop off my lady wife. She's on our way somewhere abroad. And when I came up, I didn't beat Mr. Coleman's record of getting to here from Heathrow and some time that I won't mention. That was a long time ago. That happened in the middle of the night. I can't say what the time was because then you'll actually work out how fast he was going in a certain Sierra Cosworth. Yeah. We won't say because that might get us into trouble. But yeah, it was pretty bad. But both I came up in the Volvo, and Mr. Coleman has changed the front brake pads, didn't that? If we'd actually had a ramp, it would have been very quick because they're exactly the same sort of thing to do as a Mark II Focus, aren't they? We're same as a 2 litre. Yeah. 2 litre Focus, which is it's quite good about the S40 sometimes because a lot of the parts are just Ford Focus parts. Yeah. Not that you sort of see them particularly, but there are some bits of individual to Volvo. Like for some reason the wheel bearings are not the same type as on a Ford Focus. They're Volvo type, which is strange, but it might just be for the white block engine ones. So we made it up here. Mr. Coleman did his bin route, and I came up in the Volvo, and we all survived. Let's have a look at the chat here. So, want to say hello to Mr. Harwood. Good evening, sir. Paulie Galtieri. Good evening, sir. Agent Barry, all the way from Missouri, in the middle of the afternoon, joining us for the live stream. Good afternoon to you, sir. Yes. Mr. Harwood asked if we're well. We're doing okay.
Well. We're very wet.
Yeah, it was a bit wet. It got a bit damp doing those brake pads, didn't it, sir?
Yeah.
And Simone Hunter Classic says hello. Richard Hart says hello. Mr. Harwood says, have you been showing Mr. Coleman the work you've been doing, which is rebuilding the sill on his Honda Civic VTI? I've got the pictures, sir. I shall show them to Mr. Coleman later. My lady was in there, so Mr. Harwood says, hope she has a safe journey. The weather is bad. I think she's well out of.
She'll be well out of the way now.
Yeah, she's up in the air somewhere, so I think she's fine. You can always track progress of any flight in the world. Actually,
I've got Flight Radar 24, and it's a good app to have. That is, if you like watching planes.
Yeah, so we'll have a look at that in a little while. Julian Knight says, "Good evening, everyone. Are you in Germany?" Yes. Oh, yes. The weather here on the Baltic is terrible. It's force 10 gale.
Wow. Okay.
It just reminds me of what happened in October 1987, when I think you were too young to remember anything.
I've been just over 2.
Yeah, I actually remember it because I would have been about 4, and I remember that the fence came straight down. The one that was in my parents' garden came straight down. That was like the mildest thing ever.
That was storm of '87.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a good question for you, Mr. Coleman. This isn't really sort of your area at all. What does Mr. Coleman think of the Skoda Yeti? It's a Volkswagen product.
Yeah.
There we go. Is that it?
Well, as Joseph says, he doesn't talk about diesels on his channel. I don't talk about that brand on my channel.
Yeah, apart from the Santana.
Apart from the Santana, I do like the Volkswagen Santana, but everything else can go and get in the sea.
Yeah. But to be fair, Mr. Frank's Skoda number 4, I think, on the channel. Yeah. He's still got that, and actually that's been quite a good car. He's had it over 5 years now.
Yeah, and he comes all the way from Edinburgh.
Yeah. It says, be warned, Mr. Coleman, there's a bit of pigeon poo welding on the inner wheel arch.
That's right, don't worry about it. He called those gorilla welds. They're strong, but they're ugly.
Yeah, it says metal's apparently 0.8 millimetres.
And to be fair, I will add a bit of reassurance to that. Anything Honda of that vintage, when we used to race all the Swindon Civics and stuff back in the day, those things are not good to weld. I don't know what steel it is, but they're just, all of them are crap to weld. So if you manage to get some weld to stick and it be fine, you're doing well.
I think he got a sell off a 45 or something.
Yeah.
We'll see it fits and everything. They're not easy to find, those. Agent Barry says, I once went across the channel on a school trip to France. We were at a 4-6 gale.
Yeah.
Everybody got sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been that in the sea. It's not nice. Right. Yeah. So we have some announcements to make this evening. Mm-hmm. So as you know, back in July, I purchased a Rover 216. Early one, 1990 216 GSI Auto. That is quite a well-known car in certain scenes. In fact, a chap called Chris James, who some of you might know, used to own it, and in 2021 I drove that on the channel up in the North East, which was nice because I've had a number of RX. This is the third one I've had, and so I found it actually for sale on I think it was eBay. Yeah, eBay advert. It was a classified advert. I couldn't believe it was the same car. Like I had to check, and I was looking for something to replace the Volvo 460. That took a lot longer to sell than I imagined. I mean, that was ready to sell. Oh, when did July? That's why, if that's an exception, I had the for sale sign on it.
Yeah.
And actually, there's something I need to explain first about the 460. That on the first public outing that car had in a show, which was, as far as I remember, Retro Rise Weekender in May. That had been when literally it was like the day after the work had been done, pretty much. I had a chap approach me who saw it on the Sunday Retro Rise Weekender, and he said, "I've not seen one of these in ages. It looks great. You know, I've got a collection of 90s Volvos. How much would you like for it? Are you know, I'd love to buy it."
Yeah. And
I said, "Well, I'm so sorry, it's not for sale." And then I then spent ages trying to sell it. Nobody seemed to want it. And after that, I was like, I can't let this happen again.
Yeah.
You know, if this happens, somebody unsolicited just says, okay, I want to buy it, and then it's actually a decent price. Sometimes the first offer is the best offer.
Yeah.
So bear that in mind. So when I bought the 216. Actually, Channel View sold it to me. We agreed a price. I did ask him for a bit off because I knew it was going to need some work. I just saw the previous MOT, and bearing in mind the MOT had about 5 days to run when I bought it. I knew we were all new tyres. I knew we were in for a centre exhaust. And I knew it hadn't had a cam belt done. But, oh my goodness me. So, found a transportation company, brought it over here. The price was quite reasonable actually, about 350 I think I paid for it. He was very good actually, very professional chap. He brought it over, which is nice. He actually brought it on a trailer rather than kind of on a flatbed. So it was good. You know, that's a company I'd definitely use again if I was doing transportation like to or from the sort of Norwich it was in. And it arrived, and oh my gosh. How do we put this? Like, the car had quite a lot of issues. We're not just talking about a saggy headliner and the plastics on the outside, the black plastics, you know, needing be brought to life, because loads of people who see photographs of the car say, "Oh, you need to like do all the plastics."
Yeah.
That's not really the way that we really do things around here. We need to sort out things like, one, it's going to need an MOT, and what do we need for the MOT? Well, quite
Exhaust,
a few.
radiator,
Tyres,
brake calipers, brake pads, ball joint. What was it? I've lost count of stuff that we've done.
back box,
Yeah, back box.
battery,
auto trans service because the oil in it was like soup.
We didn't need the cam for the service, but the cam hadn't been done.
That had been done.
If you look at the video No Budget Reviews in 2021 of the car, you'll see that the rocker cover is in horrible condition. It's disgusting. To be fair, like the car, in terms of the state of the body, was quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only bit where the paint was bad was the sort of the bit on the top of the rear tailgate.
Yeah.
It was just where the lacquer had peeled off. Actually, the paint job looked great. Like
it had been painted in the past to quite a good standard. When, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know when. The first family that owned the car till 2019, but the car had 4 owners since then, not including me. You had 4 owners since then. The total number of owners was like 7 or 8 on the logbook, because it'd been passed between the family. A place called Henley's Garage in Ewell, which is on the A240 Epsom bypass in Ewell. It's about 3/4 of a mile from where I used to live. So that's one of the reasons why I was excited about it. So yeah, we just kept finding things. The biggest problem was, and the back box on the car looked all right, but someone had botched this back box onto the decaying centre exhaust. The centre exhaust itself, it took 2 months to get one. Yeah. 2 months, and it was very, very uncommon. It wasn't that expensive. It was £110. Yeah. And they actually had to come from Italy, and that's why we had to wait so long for the MOT, because it was blowing and it was horrible. Yeah. And then we had to do the back box because we couldn't get the old back box to fit on the centre because someone had botched it, and we just kept finding things like the car hadn't been serviced for ages. Yeah. The coolant reservoir was full of gunk because it hadn't been changed. Yeah.
It had been because it had a leaky radiator, and I think the radiator had been leaking on it for a lot of time, and I think it had more than 2 or 3 bottles of Radwell put through it, because it did it no favours at all. Yeah, it was really, really bad. What happened really over the course of, I'm not blaming any particular person for this, but there was such a kind of sort of attitude of whoever had it, of like delayed maintenance. So the cam belt had been done in about 2006. Yeah. That coolant hadn't been changed for years. The tyres really should have been changed quite a long time ago. They were advised at the MOT in 2022, but by the time the car got here, they were not good. No. They were not good at all. Mr. Coleman and I are of the same opinion that we do preventative maintenance on most of the things we have. So, I mean, we just changed the brake pads in the S40 because they weren't quite completely done, but they had about maybe 20% left. Yeah, about maybe 2,000 miles on them or something. So we just done them, and obviously, weather being what it is, it's probably good. And I've done 3,000 miles, over 3,000 miles in that car. So I bought it 1st of August, and I've been using it as a work car. We don't have the Mercedes anymore. We don't have the 460 anymore. So, we put in miles in the other 2, and it's been very good for that. It's just obviously if you use things as a work car, you kind of need to be more sort of proactive about what you do. Yeah. And even if you're just using something for shows and stuff, and the 216 generally just went to shows throughout the course of 4 years, but when it got here, it just it had a lot of things done to it. Yeah. And obviously there were more things to do after we had the MOT done. There were more things to do on it. There was, sorting out the headlining, which was horrendous. All the door carpets, the door cards. Yeah, one of the door cards was coming apart. You actually see it in the video that I did, and I think it was August I filmed it. It's a very vague vlog where you see the interior of things. And that needed doing. The black plastic trim needed doing. Yeah. Mr. Coleman had to do the centre caps on the alloy wheels for me because they were going bad. Yeah.
Just the lack of, so many things, and eventually I just sort of said, look, we need to stop this.
Yeah.
And about this time, somebody who had been following the progress of what had been going on, was in touch with me, and they and so years, like I haven't actually driven it for 2 years. I don't know. I quite like to have a go in it myself.
Yeah.
And there are some things still to do on it. He said, I've had a number of 1990s Rovers. Don't worry about it. How much do you want for it? And so I said, okay, well, we need to recoup some of this money we spent on the car.
Yeah.
I can't offer it to you anywhere near the price that I paid for it. We've done all this work, but he offered me a price, and I was like, okay, well. I was thinking at some point I probably will have to get rid of it. Well, one of the things I was thinking about was, we've still got to do the rust treatment, we've still got to do the headline, we've still got to do some other things.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not letting this thing happen again that happened with a 460. Okay, you can have it.
Yeah.
And so that's what's happened. Now, the gentleman lives much closer to Coventry than he lives to me. And I told him where it is. I told him where it is. He's like, okay, that's fine. So that's it.
It's going.
That's it. That's it. That's it. It's pretty much gone. The deal's been done. It's going. That's it. Right. We'll carry on this a second because there's another bit to it as well, which has happened today. But we'll just kind of go through some of these comments in here. Simone says, I was sick on a channel ferry myself back in the 1990s. Yeah, I'll probably stick on one of those at some point as well. Mr. Harwood says, I fabricated the lower sills myself and got up a bit from a Neil stock panel.
Fair play.
It says, I need to repair the sills on my 75. Yeah, that's not an uncommon thing, unfortunately, Simone. It's sad. I can see this emoji here.
Yeah.
Which is how I just started watching Mr. Coleman's 940 video. Yes, it is an excellent car, that. It's actually had a few cosmetic upgrades since you last saw it. The principal one you'll see is the grille surround has been changed for a silver chrome one, and it looks a million times better.
Yeah.
MOT
tomorrow.
Yeah, MOT tomorrow, which I'm sure it won't be any problem with that. Mark says good evening.
Evening.
Paulie Gattu says, I've only seen a 416 GSI saloon with rear electric windows. Was it an option on other models? Yeah, I've not seen many with them, but it's not a common option at all. You can only get them on 25s, but it's really, really, really rare. I've never seen one in person with electric windows with 25s. I've seen a couple of R8s, but not many. Adrian Barry says I've just replaced the carburettor on the Trans Am. I switched the original cast iron unit to an aluminium unit.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference and saves weight. There's discussion about carburettors on the Ford Cortina Mark V video that I did. I've actually been speaking to two experts on Cortinas. One, Mike Humble, who owns 7 Cortinas. Between early 90s for very cheap. One was a V6 one, which sounds really interesting, but yeah, he knows all about them, and he used to work apparently for Ford main agent, where he used to swap the variable Venturi carbs over and fix them, and you had to do it. The one that Cortina that's owned by Michael, who's the chairman of Tesla Motor Enthusiasts, is pretty bad.
Yeah, just put it in the bin and put a Weber on it.
Yeah, that's what I recommend to do. And also the car's been polybushed as opposed to the void bushes going, which apparently happened all the time on them. So we've got Cortina coming up quite soon, which will be good. Mr. Harwood says I've sent photographs of Mr. Coleman to analyse. Yeah, there's quite a few here, so we will have a look at those in a bit. And Mr. Harwood is a novice at welding. Yes, I think you said it, didn't you? Jude Knight says, what do you think the chances of a black Citroen GS and a white Morris Marina being at the NEC? Well, yeah. I know that Mr. Richardson and Steph and Ian Seabrook are planning to be there. So the GS, I mean, you have to watch the videos on his channel. The thing is, Mr. Coleman and I were discussing this. You know, we met through Ian Seabrook. If we hadn't been at the Hub Nut Social in March 2019, we might never have met. So we have a lot of time, we have a lot of respect for Ian Seabrook. Like, you know, neither of us have a bad word said about him.
No.
But what I do find though is I just don't have time to watch all his videos and things like that. No. So I don't know quite what's going on all the time. And I know he's had problems with Citroen, but I just haven't got time to watch the videos and find out more.
No, I haven't either.
Yeah, with Steph, I've seen a few posts that she's done about the Marina. Apparently it's having a lot of work done and she's doing some of it herself, which is great, giving it a go. She's probably a better mechanic than I am. But I don't know. Maybe some of you in the comment section below will tell me, like, what cars do you think they're going to be bringing to the NEC? I mean, you know, I'm booked in. We were talking today about the hotel that I'm booked into, Central Coventry, where I'll be getting the train from every day, because that is the best way that I find to attend that show, because the parking is so expensive. And sometimes they put you in a car park that's literally a mile or more from the actual halls. So it just takes so long. When he's walking around all day and doing like 22 shambolic shuffles over 3 days, you don't really want to walk like that, so then drive back to where you're going. And if you're going into the NEC in the morning, the queues to get in, if you're not exhibiting is completely different. Like you get in a special car park, but if you're just attending normally and you haven't got a disabled badge or anything, it's a good thing the disabled car park is separate, because that's a lot nearer. But yeah, and honestly, parking is expensive, like 18 quid a day, isn't it? Or something.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's so expensive. So I book a hotel in Central Coventry. There's a car park right next door to both the Premier Inns that I use. It costs, you know, I don't know, 5 quid a day, but it's a lot less than parking at the NEC.
18 quid a day, it's ridiculous.
And I think it's £3.40 return.
Yeah.
So I walk to the stage, it's about 10 minutes, get to the NEC, and I'm sort of there, and I can get going. So I'm you know, this is a car channel, but there are times when public transport is absolutely brilliant, and that's one of the times. It's that particular sort of use case, and I quite enjoy giving out the car for a while. I quite enjoy doing that. So yeah, I mean, I might, you know, ask Mr. Richardson to look after some of my stuff when I'm there, but I'm all booked in, all 3 days, 22, 23 shambolic shuffles. Hopefully I can stay upright for that long and don't fall over. Don't fall over. Yeah, it's probably a good thing. Right. Vulcan Pilot. We've got a discussion about Vulcan Pilot. Bill Ramsey, the Vulcan Pilot. Vulcans came in, when did they come in? About
1950... 758, something.
Yeah, because in Thunderball, the whole plot is about a Vulcan bomber. Whether you're looking at the novel, the novel where Fleming got in loads and loads of trouble because he got sued by various people for stealing elements from a screen treatment that he'd done with some people in about the same time the Vulcan bomber came out, about 1958. And that was the plot of Thunderball, and he got in loads and loads of trouble for ripping off people's work. But yeah, Vulcan Bomber was plot of Thunderball 65 that came out. Anyway, it's again Agent Barry's talking about Vulcan bombers flying in Blackpool 2015. Okay, Paulie Galtieri, does Mr. Coleman share your love for all the appurtenance of gracious living in a car, or is he more like Ian Seabrook? You're kind of sort of in the middle, aren't you? You're not really ultra luxury.
No, I've never been fussed on spec or, you know, beige leather interiors or all that kind of stuff. It really doesn't fuss me. When I buy a car on what it's capable of and what's under the bonnet. Comfortable cars don't really suit me. I like to, you know, I'm quite a fast driver. I've calmed down a lot over the years, but I do like to go out around the twisty country lanes and all that kind of stuff, and have a bit of fun. So yeah, I'm not specs of cars don't really bother me. I'm more of a driver's.
Yeah.
Like to be able to drive it properly.
But I suppose with Ian Seabrook, because he enjoys very basic cars with no power, that's not really you, is
No.
it? No. So somewhere in the middle, I suppose. Simone says Polly Bush, the Mark 3 Cortina. Yeah, obviously they're very similar underneath to a Mark 5. Because Simone displayed the Mark 3 Cortina, TC, the name of the car, at Restoration Show. I saw TC actually, and I saw Simone. That was good. But it's very expensive. It is, yeah. It's like £80 for a 3-day ticket.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Obviously, if you're exhibiting, then I think you get in. But so you're going to pay for something.
Yeah,
you pay
sometimes. Sometimes, I mean, we haven't for many years, but you usually get. Even that varies from year to year. I mean, we're not doing the November show this year with my club, purely because we didn't get a stand this year. But usually, so we've done all of the restoration shows, and I think you get your entrance fee and what they would probably call a passenger. So in essence, you're getting yourself in free because you're an exhibitor, and you could have
someone else.
Yeah.
But that was when you had the stand this time. Was it 3 of you that came in?
Yeah, we had Darren's motorbike, I had the Jeep, and Mick had the Omega.
And you also had the most professional-looking tensor barrier in the history of the MC.
Yes, it was great.
And it was good for keeping people from wandering on the stand.
Yeah, I hate it when people come on the stand without permission, and it's just. The barrier's there, and that's why the stands are there, so you can look in. You don't just walk and let yourself in and open people's doors and stick your head in and this, that, and the other. It's a big no-no on my front.
Yeah, they probably get annoyed by me walking around their stands all the time.
Well, you're more than welcome anytime, because they'll know who you are. But, if it's somebody that you don't know that's just going to walk on your stand, particularly if a car, something like the size of the Jeep or the Granadas, up on axle stands and I'm underneath it, and they're just walking. That's why we put the barriers up, because you're more than welcome to come in. Just ask. Don't just help yourself.
Yeah, I'm very careful around a restoration show to kind of try not to sort of disturb anything or not trip over anything.
Yeah.
I'm very careful about that sort of thing. But sometimes you can't get near them. People put the stands up for a reason, don't they? Sometimes it's very crazy.
Not to sound cynical or anything. A lot of it's health and safety as well. And the thing is as well, which you really need to do, which is why we kind of get a bit of a recurring stand every year in March, is that it's called a restoration show for a reason, because you're supposed to be working on your cars.
Which you definitely were.
Yeah.
And so was Mick.
Yeah.
And Darren on the motorbike as well.
And Darren was doing motorbike stuff, yeah.
But there weren't many motorbikes there at all, were there?
There never normally is. A couple of years they've done the motorbike things there, but I suppose it's still classed as transport, really, but motorbikes don't really do it for me.
No, I don't know anything about motorbikes. You can ride one, can't you?
Yeah, I've got a license. Yeah.
I can't ride one. It was good. Obviously, the restoration show is an awful lot smaller than the show in November.
I prefer it.
In a way, because I think it's only 14 parts, whereas last time was 22, 23, and that's if you do the auction. And I found out that actually doing the auction's not a bad idea. There's lots of interesting stuff in there, and also you look later and sort of stuff sold for, and you get quite shocked, because at the moment certain cars go for like tuppence. I mean, there were a couple of X308s, an X300, XJ Jaggy was there, and they went for literally no money. Obviously, those cars would have had some quite severe problems.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I was going to get on to the next bit, wasn't I? And this is one of the things. I don't think I want to buy a car without an MOT again, or a very short MOT.
Not without me.
It was just awful. So I contacted somebody who I know. Actually, a lot of you will know who it is. I'm not going to say. And I knew that he had some cars for sale. And there was one particular one that I was interested in. I'd heard about it before. And I said to him, okay, well, the 216 has been sold. I need to replace it, because I like to have a spare car in case anything happens. And actually,
Yeah.
this has been good as well. We've got at least another spare car because with the 216 taking so long, literally months waiting for the parts to arrive and all the work that needed to be done, the Sanyong and the Volvo have been really good. That's why I've got an ownership report on the Volvo coming up soon when I've actually managed to have a day that's dry enough to take it to the car wash and get it cleaned. We'll be doing an ownership report on it, and actually it's been brilliant. It's done 3,000 miles in about 2.5 months, and all the only thing you need to do is a set of brake pads. There's only two other things to do to it, which is getting the CD player to work in the radio and maybe fitting a Bluetooth system to it and the air conditioning radiator.
Yeah. That
is it. There's nothing else to do on the car to make it suitable daily use, apart from maybe around the time the MOT's due, which is in March, maybe balancing the wheels and a couple of front tyres. And we looked at the size of them. It's a very standard size. Be about £50 each, not a problem. So that is quite good. Do we have any other comments that are coming? Do I have to keep refreshing this? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Mr. Coleman, this is an excellent question for you.
Who is it?
Paulie Galtieri says, has Mr. Coleman raced a Mark II Granada Coleman Milne?
Yes. How many? Or how many? Have a guess. How many?
No, both types, like hearse and limousine. Yeah, well, about 100, 200?
No, not that many.
How many left are there?
8 limos, 3 hearses.
Wow. I thought you did more than that.
No.
Yeah. Apparently there's another limousine that Mr. Coleman and some of his teammates have recently acquired, but we won't go into that. That sounds quite nice, actually. Simone's got to go. That's okay, Simone. Oh, there's one here I haven't sort of said. Agent Barry, this is a very, very good point. Whenever I used to go to the NEC, I parked in Marston Green.
Yeah. And
took the train. That's very close, isn't it? What's that?
It's one station.
One stop. It was £1 for a return ticket.
Yeah.
Those were the days, weren't they? No wonder people, have kind of.
Yorkshireman's kind of saving, that is.
Yeah, I mean, father's family are all from Yorkshire. We like saving money. So I contacted this chap. Most of you will know probably who he is, and this afternoon we did a deal. Yeah. And this car is going for an MOT, but we are not doing it.
No,
it's going to go and have one. And the price that we've agreed actually involves fixing the issues and having a year's MOT on it.
Yeah. And
then hopefully just enjoying it. I hope, because I don't want to wait forever and have to do an endless laundry list of things. It was so ridiculous. I shouldn't have done that. It was a silly decision. So we're trying to make more sensible decisions, but the car itself isn't the most sensible car, really. It's not not really. But I discussed it with this gentleman before, and it sounds like it might be something sort of pertaining to the appurtenance of gracious living, which is a phrase that one of my channel viewers quite likes to say, and it's very appropriate for that car, I think.
Yeah.
It is, I'd say so.
I'm allowed to say the name of the caller?
No, sir.
Okay.
You are not allowed to say that, sir. Just a question on the side. Who is first on the darts Oki after the live stream?
Me.
All right, yeah. Oki, sorry.
Yeah.
It shows no trying to know about darts, Mr. Coleman, which is nothing.
Yeah.
Right. Do we have any more questions for Mr. Coleman whilst he is here?
Ask away. I don't bite much.
I think we've
Is it gone dead?
No, there's still 17 people watching apparently. Yeah, this isn't, by the way, like Boaty's World, where the live streams go on forever. Mark from Bad Books. Has your new car got a beige leather interior? I shall not answer that question. The thing is, it's we literally did the deal this afternoon, and it could be that I don't actually get the car. It's so early at the moment that I don't really want to say anything like that. I'm not going to say anything. Yeah.
Well, it all depends whether it requires tens of pounds spending on it for its MOT.
Which actually, you know, isn't. That's not our problem.
No.
For once.
Yeah.
It's not our problem at all. Well, here's a good question for you. Well, that's 2 questions here. Has Mr. Cole been a Great British Car Journey? I think it's a no.
No.
No. Jova R asks, why hasn't Toyota been as successful in Britain as it's been in the US? Yeah, Toyota is very successful over here.
Yeah.
It's so successful, in fact, that they've been using their production capacity to help Suzuki out by building the Swace. Yeah, which I think looks worse than the Toyota Corolla does.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's helped because it's a compliance car. It helps Suzuki to continue to sell more cars over here by having that car, and it's absolutely fine. Toyota is actually one of the better selling brands over here. They're frequently in the top 5 best selling brands in this country.
I think it's now second-hand Corolla and even some Swaces and stuff is worth about £4 million if you're an Uber driver, particularly around here.
It's a very good point.
Yeah.
So in 2021, I did a job for a client in West London, I think it was. Yes, West London. And we were looking at various cars. And one of them was a Toyota Auris Sports Touring, which is the predecessor to the current Corolla Sports Touring. And it was 2021, it's 2015. It done, I think, 50,000 miles. So 50,000 miles, something like that. It was up for 15 grand, which is insane. Because of the Mayor of London and the council leader in Birmingham and the Mayor of Bristol and all their friends around the country, and then taking away a car type, engine type that we cannot discuss on this channel.
Yeah.
They want the Toyota Auris and Corolla sports touring models. That's what they want, and they sell in quite high numbers. 2 years ago, I know for certain that particular car, the Corolla, I think it's called Sports Touring still, that is the best-selling estate car of that type in the country. And a lot of them are Uber. Now, Uber's changed a bit. They have a bit more of a sort of variety of cars, principally things like the MG5, which actually, in some ways, targeted straight at that car. It's a very similar type of car to that in many ways, although it's fully electric.
I've seen a new version of Uber driving around as well. Bolt.
That's a rival company, I think.
Is it?
Yeah. So yeah, Toyotas are very popular. Like the Yaris is sometimes the best-selling, in the top 10 best-selling list. I've seen it several times. They are popular over here. Maybe not quite as popular as in America. I think Toyota is the best-selling brand of car in the world now.
I
think it is. Yeah, it's above like Chevrolet and Ford now. Yeah. So I don't know really how I would sort of pitch it. They are very popular over here, but just for some reason, like Audi tends to outsell Toyota.
Yeah.
Which is a baffling mystery to me, because the A1 is so overpriced, Mr. Coleman.
Yeah, it's terrible car.
If that car was a Skoda Fabia, I think the Fabia personally to me looks better, and it's the same car pretty much. But you get in the A1, you're like, why are the door cards completely plastic? Where's all the material?
Yeah.
It's 30 grand. So I drove one, I couldn't see reviews back in March. I was intrigued to test one. And it's just like, well, you could just buy, I don't know, in a Beef,
Fiesta.
in a Beefer or a Polo or something like that, which is exactly the same engines, same platform, some of the same switchgear, and you can save a sort of amount of money. Audi's a very strange brand because they market themselves as being something exclusive and premium, but they are really not anything special because they just sell so many cars. They outsell Vauxhall all the time. And, you know, it's all to do with perception, really. It's all it is. Right. Mr. Harwood says, did Mr. Coleman repair the front jacking point on the 45? The rust wasn't actually in that place. It was in a very slightly different place. Yeah. But effectively, yes. There's actually a video on the channel of him doing it.
Yeah.
There's photographs and things on there. Agent Barry says, I'm guilty of making Boaty go on. Well, you're not the only one. He loves it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He absolutely loves it. There's a video he did recently after I came to see him in Derbyshire earlier this month. And he just talks about, well, we talked about stuff and we didn't even film anything. Weather was terrible anyway, but I enjoyed just talking to him and not filming anything for once. That was nice. But yeah, he enjoys it. We're not, no. We don't drink scotch on this channel. This is pale cream sherry.
Yeah, very nice.
And Mr. Coleman, I often enjoy some pale cream sherry. Amo L says, I have a question. In relation to your reviews of the Galant GLSI and the Toyota Carina 2, which one would you choose? Galant, no question. If it was a Carina 2 T190, sorry, no, T170, it is. So the one I drove was a T150 recently. That's not actually up yet. This is a question from the channel member because he's already seen it.
Yeah.
The T150, it's a perfectly decent car. It's much older than the Galant. The Galant is a whole generation newer, and the GLSI was like, apart from the four-wheel drive, four-wheel steering ones that you could get, it was loaded. Have a diamond option pack on it. That car, loads of equipment. Whereas the Carina 2s, the T150s, they only came in two trim levels. It was GL and GL Executive.
Boring.
And the GL Executive had a few more toys. We're not talking the same level as the Galant at all. The Galant had cruise control on it. If it was a T170 Carina 2, I have done one of those on the channel, and it was GL Executive, that's far closer to the Galant. The Galant's a very, very special car. Like, it's incredibly advanced. And it's especially one of the most advanced brands actually in the world at times. It's a very, very advanced car, and I really enjoyed it. I just found the steering, and you could get two types of power steering in that. That one had the electro-hydraulic system, and there was the normal hydraulic power steering, and the car just had very little feel in the steering. It's a very easy car to drive, and it's a 2-litre engine and it's fast. I mean, you could go even faster if you wanted to with some of the other engines that are available in it. But that car was also seriously expensive. It was a very expensive car. And the chap who owns it, his name's Philip, and it was that first real exception was something you saw. Like, that car is absolutely concourse. I mean, in my opinion, it should have won.
Yeah.
I mean, Mr. Coleman's seen it as well. He's seen it. It should have won, in my opinion. But I don't make the rules. People keep saying to me like, "Oh, what would you do, and which ones would you choose?" And I think we've seen this before. It's like, we're not the judges. We don't want to be, because the criteria is just impossible. Julia Knight says, "Do you have a 10,000 subscriber video planned or already recorded?" I've got two choices for the 10,000 subscriber video. It depends how that works out, but I haven't recorded it yet, no. So we have Mr. Harwood. The rust of the Honda is inside the outrigger, which is no fun. It'll have to be cut out and replaced. Yeah, well, I've got the photographs on here. I'll show you this comment later. So Sean Burke says, "Good evening, sir. So these chaps are having a nice time talking about great cars. I'm trying to get 3 grandchildren under 3 to be quiet."
That's not happening.
That's kind of hard. We can't repeat some of these things on here. So we have certain words which we don't mention on here, sir.
I'll just shh.
But we do have some emojis on there which are quite interesting. Look at those, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Agent Barry, that guy who said the Alpha 5. I'm a real ale man myself. A real ale man in Missouri, actually, isn't it? I do like whiskey and vodka.
I like vodka with fresh orange juice. Very nice.
Is that called a screwdriver?
It is.
Yeah. I learned that at Faulty Towers, I think.
What was the name of the episode?
Waldorf Salad.
Yeah, there you go.
Bruce Bower is the name of the chap. He was in James Bond, I think.
Yeah, we had to take that little back country road called the M4.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because Torquay is quite an Exeter, isn't it? Like you go down the M4 and the M5, and then the road just kind of stops.
Yeah.
Junction 31. So I was in Exeter doing a job the other day for a client, and I got literally to the end of the M5, like, oh, it said to go off, and I'm like, I thought I'd go off. It's like, actually, this isn't really. You go the A38 or the A30, and the A30 is just one way off, but that was the way to the south of Exeter where I was doing the job. This is a very difficult question, Mr. Coleman. Mitsubishi Galant or Honda Accord? So what Accord exactly are you like putting it up against? Because if it's the one that came out about 88, 89, that's a really hard thing, because you could get like cruise control, air conditioning, automatic electric windows in it. You could get four-wheel steering.
I would, in that period, I would still take the Galant. There's only one Honda Accord which I would actually like and enjoy to drive, is the Honda from the mid to late 90s. It's the Honda Accord with the 3-litre V6 in it, the coupe.
Yeah, it's the American built one.
Yeah, really nice.
I think they saw two generations of the Accord coupe. Didn't they? 2 generations of the Accord coupe. In terms of the Galant, and then the spec would be a 2-litre Accord with the 4-wheel sort of steering or something like that, the sort of fancy one. I don't know. I haven't driven one of those.
No, I
haven't driven one of those. Sean Burke says, after a few beers, I reckon the door next to the dartboard might get a bit nervous. All right, yeah. Okay. Sean Burke says, I was trying to get the grandchildren to bed. You're doing quite well considering you're on the live stream. You've got 3 children under
3-year-olds.
Yeah, that's quite impressive. You're actually on the live stream as well. I mean, that's very impressive. Right, do we have any more questions for Mr. Coleman, or not? Oh,
there we go.
Oh my gosh, sir, Rover 800 Sterling Coupe or Honda Accord Coupe?
Honda Accord Coupe.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I love the Rover 800 Coupe. Of course, it's got to be a Sterling. Of course, it's got to be a Honda engined Honda V6, so 2.7 automatic transmission, beige leather interior, wood piping, all the extras. They were very expensive cars when they were new. They were handmade, and goodness gracious me, do they rust terribly.
Yeah, terrible. Absolutely terrible things they are.
And the thing about a Rover 800, and it's very interesting that Jack from a number 27 channel said this about an 800 Vitesse that he drove. The steering is just too light.
Like all 800.
Yeah, the steering is too light. I don't know. I'd have to drive one of these V600 Accord coupes to say, but
they're brilliant.
And the 600's sort of the same. Unless you're going for a TI, the steering when you're going fast, it's just a bit too light.
TI steering's fantastic. I missed driving mine.
Yeah,
brilliant that was.
Yeah, but I've driven 4, and all of them, just the steering's too light at motorway speeds. It's just a real shame, because actually a lot of things about a 600 is better than a 75.
Yeah. I
know it's a controversial statement, viewers. Don't hate me for it.
I will put my hand up and say I don't like the Rover 75.
I don't know what it is. A lot of people just assume that I want or a 75 or like I think that's the best car ever, but then they're not the best cars ever. If you get a one that's like that lovely V6 Tourer I drove in Somerset in May, the same owner who had the Triumph Stag, that was a superb car. It's been really well maintained. All the gadgets, beautiful to drive, very soft though, really soft, very comfort orientated car. You can get a ZT if you want more sportiness, but I'm more of a Rover person, so that would be one I would have. But as Simone's pointed out, 75s just have a heck of a lot of problems. They just have a lot of problems, don't they?
Yeah.
It's a shame.
I mean, they're not. It's my personal opinion. They're not a bad car. They're not the best, but for me, liking and enjoying Rovers, and there have been quite a few of them over the years, they just don't float my boat, and I don't know why.
Yeah, because you've had quite a few. One of the best cars you had was a 45 1.6, wasn't it?
Oh.
But you changed the head gasket on, and it gave it about 20 horsepower.
Yeah, I ported and polished the head and had a bit of a play around, done some not quite so legal things to it to get it to actually go quite quick, and it absolutely flew by the time I finished with it. And that car was absolutely immaculate. And I was in the process of doing some fleet swaps, etc., etc. My next door neighbour Dan bought it off of me and ran it for, I think, 5 years.
Ages.
Yeah, ran it for 5 years. Put the best part of 60,000 miles on it. It only had one oil change in that time. And it was a fantastic car for him, and then the front floors fell out of it, like they normally do with the 45, and it just wasn't worth fixing.
But he also, I think, had a bit of an accident, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
He had a bit of an accident. So, but,
Yeah.
but even after that, it still ran.
Yeah, it still ran.
It was all right. I think he put it in a hedge or something, didn't he?
Yeah.
He put it in a hedge. One thing I've really missed about a 45, as opposed to all the other cars that we have, or sorry, just two other cars that we have, is the steering.
Yeah.
Like the steering on a 45, or like Mr. Harwood's Civic VTI, or the HHR 400 MGZ, that's all the same car. The steering is amazing. Some of the best steering ever in a front-wheel drive car.
Yeah.
And of course, it's so similar, that car, to an EG4, EG6 Honda Civic. It's the same system, I think, of the steering and the same suspension. That actually there is no surprise that they drive really well. It's just EG4, EG6 Honda Civic. You can name your price up to north of £5,000 for an EG6.
Yeah, well, the thing is, though, they were a fantastic car, but they kind of fell into the bracket of, the vape crowd and calling everybody dude.
It's a shame, because people didn't really at the time appreciate the fact that the 45s, the HHR 400s, and even the Swindon Civics, we call them, the 5-door Civics, actually they've got the same parts as an EG Civic, and so they drive really, really well. And you can corner really fast in them. I mean, if you want the ultimate, you get a ZS180 because it's all stiffened up.
Yeah.
But even the standard ones, and there's a chap that I know who's been a long time channel. He's just got himself a 1.6 45, and he really likes it. The thing is, you can still pick them up for virtually no money.
Yeah.
If it's on a V6, and because V6 are really rare, and they can sometimes command north of £3,000. I mean, mine wasn't much as that, but the normal ones, they're quite a good driver's car. Obviously, ZSs are quite expensive now, but 45 is one of the best ways of getting yourself a driver's car. But nobody thinks they look like much, but actually they drive sweetly. Right, let's have a look here. We've got some comments here. That's an interesting one. Agent Barry, guy from City Alpha 5. There's an Irish pub here in Jefferson City. It serves authentic James Bond cocktails, including the Vesper and a vodka martini, shaken not stirred, if you request it.
Yeah, nice.
That's pretty good. Farmer says, I drove an 800 from Hampshire to the Lake District and back in the same day.
Yeah.
Effortless on the motorway. Yeah, it's for very good cruising cars. I've driven a couple of them. It's just both of them are the same. Even the Vitesse. It was a really nice Vitesse. I mean, you've seen the Vitesse. Yeah. It's a lovely Vitesse. It's just the steering's a bit too light, and it's just the way that they were. The Legend's probably the same, isn't it? It's based on
Legend.
The thing about the Accord Coupe is it's not based on that platform at all, because in 1991 or 92 the new Honda Legend came out, and it wasn't based on the same platform as the 800 anymore, because Rover didn't have the money to develop a new 800 on the second generation Legend platform. We still got them.
I always wanted a Honda Legend up until about 10 years ago, and I actually got the opportunity to work on one. And then
was it horrific, sir?
No, it wasn't too bad. But it was the biggest letdown of all, because I found out it was front wheel drive.
Yeah, like a Rover 800.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, unfortunately so, sir. Sean Burke says Rover over the Accord. Well, they're not the same car though.
No.
This is where it gets complicated. The Accord that's based on a Rover 600 is not the same car as the American Accord at the time. So the one that's the coupe, I don't even know if it's on the same platform.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is. They're two completely different model lines. So the Aerodeck and the coupe were on one platform, and the Saloon was on another one.
I think the American-based one is based. Oh, there's obviously a lot of Acura going on in that as
Yeah,
well.
it's probably based on the Acura, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think what it was called.
I don't know.
What was it called?
It's not the Acura Integra.
No.
The Integra's so much smaller. I don't know. Somebody maybe in the comment section below can sort of say. Right. Oh, another thing here from Mr. Harwood. I'll stick with the R8s, the R3s, and HHR Rovers. Yeah, fair enough. Some good cars there. Agent Barry says, I'm patriotic. I'd rather have the Rover over Honda, but I have just found a 6th generation Honda Civic Saloon sedan. EX with a manual gearbox, and it's $600. That might be terribly rotten, sir.
Where is he?
Missouri.
I don't think he's in the Salt Valley. He should be alright.
$6 in America, like you can't buy cars for like the same sort of money as you can over here. Even now, like like a $1,000 car in America is.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you've got to look at it, and you'll agree with me on this one, is that all of the car, no matter what brand or whatever make or model of vehicle you have, they are always more expensive to buy from southern states than they are northern states.
Because of the rust, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you in the rust belt where your farm is, Mr. Coleman?
No.
I didn't think so. It's down south, isn't it?
Yeah.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Didn't think so.
Yeah, it is kind of quite funny though when you get a, when Rob will get a, what the class as a northern car in his shop that's say like, a 5 and 6 year old Chevy Silverado that's just come down for say, Vermont or New York State or anything like that, and this thing's about ready to bust in half on the ramp when they put it up in the air, just doing a simple oil change on it because they salt the roads the best part of 365 days a year. It's ridiculous.
It's like one of those fake Daihatsu Chinese fans they sold for a while. I can't remember what they were called. Somebody in the comment section below can tell me what they were called. But there were these vans that are Chinese. They have a 3-letter manufacturer name. I can't remember what it is, but like Daihatsus. I've never seen new vehicles like that with rust advisories at like something like that. Yeah, it's they're not very good though. It's a bit like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or the car that I found, in 2020, it was a 2012 Toyota IQ that lived up on the coast of Scotland. I've never seen rust advisories on an 8-year-old Toyota before. Yeah. Not one from the 2010s.
Yeah, don't buy a car, if you're in the UK, don't buy a car from Scotland. Anything that's got, on modern plates, anything that starts with an S, don't bother with it.
Yeah, like the Citroen C3, that we had on No Budget Reviews of Stereo Edition in 2020.
Yeah.
That thing should not have been on a road, sir. How many failure items on it? Was it 130?
Yeah, it was getting, I really went to town.
Yeah, there's a reason why we had our fun, and then we cut the camber on it because it was flipping dangerous.
Yeah,
I drove it and it was really scary when I had no brakes. That wasn't fun.
No.
Fortunately, we didn't crash or anything. That wasn't too good. There's an interesting question for you here, sir. Can you convert the hubs on a Rover 800 for 5 studs, which are a better choice for alloy wheels? They're already 5 studs, aren't they?
What, a Rover 800?
Yeah.
No, they're 4.
But you could just put Honda Prelli wheels on it. You could put rubber 600 wheels.
So long as it's a 4x11 4.5 bolt pattern, I think.
I've seen with loads of different alloy wheels on them though.
Yeah, they're just it's like a generic fitment. So like I say, so long as the actual bolt pattern, the PCD, is fine. Anything will fit. Over 800 on a 4-star. I don't know if I
I think it says, can you convert it?
Convert it?
Yeah.
I don't think you can.
No.
I don't think you can, because I don't even think the Honda Legends are 5-star either.
No, I can't remember now. The thing is with, I know the 45s, you can put tons of different wheels on those.
Yeah.
You can put Volkswagen Golf GTI wheels.
Yeah, I think they're 4x100 on there, I think.
Yeah. because Mr. Quirk's Planet Auto's got Volkswagen got GTI wheels on it, which you can't do it the other way around, but you can do it that way, and you can put Peugeot 306 wheels, you can put Vauxhall Astra, I think it's Astra G wheels on them, you can put all the Honda Civic wheels on them. It's madness. Like that's one of the best cars for choice of wheels you fit to them, I think. Sean Burke says, I'd much rather have an SD1 V8. Well, I understand why, because those are very nice. Miss Harwood says, I don't do the Civic crowd. Well, you've got a Civic VTI, that's a very desirable type of Civic now, so you probably do so, I'd imagine. They go quite fast. Agent Barry says, I prefer V25 or 200 R3 over the 45. It's all down to personal preference, but the thing is, with the 200 R3 or V25, I don't find the driving position very good in them. I don't like the clutches in them, which are normally cable and off bodies. These days they are really knackered unless you've actually adjusted them properly, and also the pedals aren't very comfortable. I find the coast give me cramp after quite a short period of time. I've driven quite a few of them, and I just find they're not easy to drive. I find hydraulic clutch to a 45 and driving position just a lot better. That's just my opinion. A lot of people like the 25s. Agent Barry points something out. Yes, Missouri's and Midwest look clean and ready, rust free. The Civic. There's a video of the Civic on his channel. There we are. The guy from City Alpha 5. Have a look at it, viewers. Ms. Harwood says the most solid New England car, there's nothing left. Lord Stiff Upper Lip says, I'm sorry I'm late, I fell asleep. Never mind, sir, there's always the catch-up service. Paulie Gauthier says the Rover SD1 V8 EFI Vanden Pla. Yes, the visitors are nice, but we prefer the Vanden Pla, sir, because that's the sort of people that we are.
I'm a Vitesse man.
Yes, of course, and we won't get into the planned debate either. Mr. Harwood says, will the Civic VTI be accepted a festival of exceptional next year if I take it?
I would have thought so.
This is something actually. There's a Facebook group, Festival of Exceptional. It's a very good one actually. It's very tempting because people sort of advertise cars in there that you might want to take. And this is the thing about Festival of Exceptional. This year, the concours, and they're quite strict about this, it is 68 to 1998. So it's between, let's get this right.
Years.
It's 1998, so no, it's 25 years.
25 years?
Yeah, 25 years, 98 to 2023, 25 years, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. But you go 30 years before that, so you don't you? So 30 years before that is 55. So it's between 25 and 55 years old, and they're quite strict on it. So the oldest car there, I think it was the 70, it was a Fiat 128 or something, wasn't it? Fiat 128 was the oldest one in the concourse. And then the newest one, I think, was probably the Baleno, the 97. I think the Baleno was the newest one, because we have that on the channel as well. I don't know if he's managed to sell that yet. No, it was so clean, that car. Like it was sort of rubbish, but wonderful at the same time. I quite enjoyed driving it just because it was just comical to drive, because you go around a corner and the whole thing leans over like a listing ship, and it was just funny. It's just sort of car that in Asia they sell tons of the things, but over here everyone just looked at it as like, that's a bit sort of bland and anonymous, isn't it? But people kind of love them. If you're talking about just the general, what we call the classic parking, unexceptional parking, you can basically come in there in virtually anything up to about 2005 to 6.
I'm going to take the 940 next year.
Yeah, well that will fit it. It's a 92. That's concourse section really. But yeah, if particularly if you've got a Rover, if you've got like a 2005 plate Rover or an MG,
you're fine.
You get straight in. One of the 45s I had on my channel before was a 2002. Was in that section. They don't mind. They're not strict in the classic parking so much. There's always some classic parking which you think, well, what's this doing in here? There are the people at the door. It's just their discretion. Like you go down the enormously long driveway forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Eventually you end up there, and there's 3 lanes, and they just give you the right one. Clearly, I was in a Volvo 460, which is bright just bright gold from 1991. I mean, like, of course, I I got in. Mr. Coleman in the Vectra, which was technically the Concourse was 60, it was a 98. So, you know, if you wanted to, you could have done. So we're quite sort of strict about what we take now. But because in 2022 we took the Jeep, didn't we? We came together.
Yeah, we did the Jeep, and then in 21 we took the Granada, didn't we?
We took the Granada. Yeah, so that's an 82. So, you know, we're quite strict ourselves about what we do because we're trying to. I know it sounds really stupid, but we try to sort of set an example. And so if I bring something next year, if I really want to be good about it, and not people sort of wondering whether I should go in that, it needs to be 1999 or earlier.
Yeah.
So Civic.
Well, taking a Mercedes that you can't talk about.
Can't talk about that Mercedes, sir.
Yeah.
Can't discuss that on this channel.
Last night.
Sorry.
I think he set off last night.
What, to the festival?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the slowest thing in the history of the world.
Yeah. Mercedes 190D.
Which we can't discuss, sir.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. Agent Barry says if you can get your laptop fired up, put a review essentially on the channel. Yeah, that might be quite a slow process getting that off there. That laptop's really slow, sir. Richard O'Connell, this is interesting.
Go on.
My 2004 Hyundai Matrix got in. The age rules I've not followed. Yeah, this is what I said. Like, if you've got something from before about 2006, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
And a Hyundai Matrix, I would say anyway, is perfect.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that car. I mean, as long as it's not a forbidden fuel, which they did make, unfortunately, which is
my favourite car at the festival unexceptional was not in the concourse.
Where was it?
It was about 8 cars away from where I had the Vectra parked.
Which one was that, sir?
The gold Volvo 760 GLE Estate.
Was it a facelift?
Yeah.
Sir, that was quite nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty good. That had a big PRV in it, wasn't it?
No, it was a 760 turbo.
Oh, Mr. Coleman.
It was the.
It's even better.
The whole ball wax. That thing.
Yeah, it was the same colour as my 460. That one. Some people have sort of said that when they designed the 440 and 460, the pre-facelift ones, they kind of were supposed to look like a sort of like a smaller 760. And to be honest, particularly the 460, it does.
Yeah.
It honestly does. And actually, there are some bits weirdly from a 760 in there. The electric release switches are the same.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the only parts that actually they share.
Yeah.
But there are some of them. Yeah, it was really nice. So I mean. Richard, send me an email, lloydvehicleconsulting@hotmail.com. So I would like to drive a Hyundai Matrix. Hopefully yours is a petrol one. I think it is. Otherwise I would have skipped it, but I don't think I did. I have actually driven a Hyundai Matrix before. Back in the days of like really cheap second-hand cars, I had a client with a budget of like $1,750, and we were going around trying to find a car, this is about 2018, that was compliant with the emission zone. So I think I was wanting to have a car stolen, and I think it was between a Hyundai Matrix and an Astra H. And we had the Astra H, which was, I think it was 2006. It had masses of service history. It was nothing interesting. It was like a 1.6, whatever they call it. I don't know. Lots of voxel trim levels are so confusing. It's like a 1.6 design or something like that.
Not an Envoy.
No, it wasn't. No, and it just drove really nicely. And I'd driven the Matrix, and that was a 1.8. It was the top model, a CDX or something, and it was a very weird car because it's like the instruments in the middle, and it's like that in the Matrix, and it's by Pininfarina, and it's just not one of the best in Pininfarina designs, but I find them quite interesting. It's basically, I think, a Hyundai Lancia underneath there. I think it's it's a Hyundai Lancia underneath there. Whatever generation was current at the time. Although sorry, the Elantra is what we used to call it, because the first two in this country were called the Lancia, and then the third one was the Elantra. It's one of those. So it's got very early sort of Hyundai engines like the Alpha and Beta engines in it.
I know about cars from that neck of the woods and that period. I've seen. It was last weekend, and I had to have a double take at it, and I thought, surely nobody can be that stupid.
Well, that's
It was a Hyundai Terracan.
Yeah, it's a similar to Shogo, isn't it?
Yeah, that had a lift kit fitted and a rough country suspension fitted on it. It looked ridiculous.
It's just a Shogun, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, they're Shogun, aren't they?
Yeah, I know they weren't very good.
Yeah, but the Terracan was sold over here. The previous generation was called the Galloper.
Yeah, so.
Which it's really weird that Hyundai obviously in the early years had a type of Mitsubishi because the X2 Pony that I drove was a Mitsubishi Colt underneath.
Yeah.
They are. That's why it had the same engine as a Proton in it. They're all sort of tied up together. So the Galloper or the Terracan, which was the one that's sold over here, is very similar to a Shogun. Yeah. They're very similar. The old Shogun. It wasn't the same generation Shogun I used to own, which I can't talk about. It was like the previous one to that. So yeah, I mean, if you had a Terracan, like you go to Festival Exceptional, I think they were sold early 2000s. You'd be welcome straight in with that. Yeah. And that's a major success. So yeah, it's an interesting discussion because the general rules are that they talk about a concourse section. That's very strict. If you want to get in there, your car needs to be no newer than 25 years. Yeah. But the classic parking, you'll easily get in there with most cars. But some of them probably do look a bit new to some eyes. But then you've got stuff like, I think it's like Mark V Golfs, because they came out late 2003. So actually stuff like that could get in. But it's really weird looking at cars from the early 2000s, because clearly some of them, like Rover 45s, look old and classic. But some of the other ones, like, things like an Astra H, which came out in 2004, because there's so many of them around, they just, and of course the C's actually now, they're pretty much worthy of classic parking, aren't they? Yeah. So it's very strange in that sort of way. And Fiesta Mark VI, and stuff like that, because there were some of those in there. Yeah. But it comes back to like, what is a classic car? And that's a question that I don't think anybody can answer. It's not possible to answer that question, really.
Yeah, it does. Anything can be a classic for me. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Which is good. Right, I've just noticed for time, and Mr. Coleman's got to go to work tomorrow. Yes. So we can't stay on any longer. I think we've run out of stuff here, but I will do a very vague vlog on the 216 and just explain again the reasons why it's been sold, and also just hint at what might be coming. I mean, I think it's going to take a little while. It's not an instantaneous thing, but we'll see what happens. So actually really weird because Mr. Richardson and Ian Seabrook don't buy and sell a lot of cars anymore. No. Whereas I seem to be doing it. So on that sort of rather entertaining cliffhanger, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Rush Mechanic, and we shall see you again soon for more Pale Cream Sherry fueled antics. Yeah. Bye.